So last night, I finished watching a little gem of a movie, and I enjoyed it so much I had to share it with you. I am referring to the movie Oddity, written and directed by Damian McCarthy. This was a movie that I had received a screener for a while back. I remember that it had come to theaters and I was interested, but I was not able to go see it because it wasn't here very long. So I finally finished watching the screener. I believe as of now, it's already up anyway on Shudder. So if you subscribe to that, you can probably get hold of it there. It might be available on other digital platforms as well. But my goodness, you guys, I was so pleased with this film and how everything came together and the writing. And you know, this was one of the movies that I went into totally blind. No pun intended. I promise. That was one of the first things I wrote when I started watching it, before I realized that one of the main characters was blind. And that character is played by, I wrote her name down, Carolyn Bracken. Now, she played twins, and I was super impressed with how much they differentiated her look from one twin to the next. Granted, it was just something like cutting the hair off one of the twins and giving her bleached blonde locks, and the other one had shoulder-length brown hair, but it was enough that I didn't realize at first that they were supposed to be identical. Also, their personalities were so different that it really helped distinguish the two characters from each other. Oddity it's an Irish, at first I thought it was just going to be a supernatural horror, but there's more to it than that, actually. It really felt more like a mystery with supernatural undertones, because there are some supernatural things that happen in it, but the core of the story is a mystery. The main character's twin sister got murdered the year before. The next year, she goes to the house where she was murdered, and her brother-in-law has a new flame, and so there are some tensions that naturally occur because of that. But the setup of the story is that she comes to the house where her sister had been murdered, and things happen. I don't want to tell you too much about this story because I would like you to go into this completely blind as well, no pun intended. I feel like the less you know about it, the more you might appreciate as things unfold. I will say that it is a slow burn, and yet at the same time, this is not a movie that wears out its welcome. It's quite short by today's standards. I mean, we're so used to movies being at close to 2 hours long or more a lot of times. This movie is only about 90 minutes, and it used its time very well. I was super impressed with that. There was no fat on this film at all. Shots lingered long enough. They also weren't too quick. So it worked so well, and I was super impressed with how everything came together, and also the sense of dread that you have throughout pretty much the entire movie, because it starts off showing something that happens to the sister, and then it shows another event that happens, and then you jump to present day, and the bulk of this story happens in one evening at that house where her sister was murdered. It's very atmospheric. It's very creepy. They don't reveal or show too much at first. Because it's a mystery, you see little pieces at a time, and then the onion layers are peeled back, and you are presented with a flashback scene that explains in more detail what exactly it was that happened. I really like that. I like mysteries already, and the fact that this was mixed with something that was supernatural-ish and had some horror. It was like 3 different genres in one: supernatural, horror, mystery, suspense, thriller. I mean, there was quite a bit in here. I was impressed with the acting of the main character, Carolyn Bracken. I think I will know her now because I thought she did a really good job playing these two separate roles. I also liked about this movie that it subverted my expectations a lot of times, because you know how there's all these tropes in different horror films, and certain events would happen in a scene, or you would see things unfold and you think, oh, I know exactly what's going to happen. Don't do that because this is going to happen if you do such and such. And then they wouldn't do what you were being led to expect they were going to do, and something else entirely would happen. I really liked that. And I also liked that they did not overuse the, one of the characters in there. They don't show you too much of this character, and the little bits that they do show you are very often sort of shrouded, or it's very quick. And when the character does something, it's not an event that is on such full display that you feel like it's kind of gimmicky. I'm trying to choose my words very carefully because I don't want to tell you who this character is and what's going on. I would really love to talk with someone about this and hash it out, but I'm not going to do that here because I want you to experience it for yourself. I was just super impressed with it and wanted to let you guys know about it. It's fairly new. I think it came out the end of last year or something like that. It's one of those for your consideration films. I wish I had seen it earlier. Maybe I would have nominated it for something with GAFCA. If I had any sort of con to it, it's not really a huge con, and it really feels rather nitpicky to mention this, but I wrote it in my review on Criticlist and other locations that, oh man, I really feel like I wanted another minute at the very end, just another minute or a few seconds, because I wanted to get this sense of satisfaction in seeing the rest of the scene play out, because it does end rather abruptly. However, if I'm being honest, if it did go on past the ending, I honestly can't say what they could have done to have made it pay off in my mind, or that would have given me the payoff that I was wanting. I don't think they could have done it. So the way they ended it was probably the best way they could end it, even though, because I was so drawn into the story and so invested in the characters and, everything that had been happening, I really wanted to see this thing carry through. And unfortunately for me, that wasn't the case, but that's just a me thing, and I honestly don't feel like it's fair calling that a con. I think it was a creative decision that was smart. So because I don't have much more to say about it, I'm going to wrap up my thoughts on the movie Oddity. If you guys check it out, let me know what you think, especially if you're a fan of horror. Yeah, really, I want to say some stuff, but I'll leave it at this, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.